The Microsoft Teams activity feed enables users to see a list of relevant items specific to them. Users can use the activity feed to address changes, notifications, and other alerts in a productive manner. In this section, you're going to learn how to use Microsoft Graph to submit notifications to the Microsoft Teams activity feed. We're first going to look at how to understand the basics of activity feed notifications, the requirements for sending activity feed notifications, and then how to send activity feed notifications using Microsoft Graph. Activity feed notifications enable apps to notify users to see relevant items specific to them. Here you can see an example of an activity feed notification and the activity feed itself. On the right-hand side, you can see where Megan has done something that has triggered a notification to Alex, who were the current user that signed in. You see the notification in the lower right-hand corner of Microsoft Teams, and it would also show up as well in the native apps notification settings. In addition, when you select the Activity tab in the left-hand rail in the application in the left-hand margin, you'll see that the same activity message is going to show up in the activity feed, and selecting that is going to take them to whatever has been specified as the detail view for the notification. Activity feed notifications in Microsoft Teams are composed of multiple bits of information displayed together as shown in this picture. The notification object contains the following components as shown in this picture: the actor who started the activity, an icon that represents the activity type, the reason the actor did the activity, a text preview, a timestamp of the activity, and the location of the activity. The activity feed notifications are used to inform the users of something. Microsoft Teams apps can be installed for users, teams, or group chats, and that means that there are three different types of contexts that your app can send a notification to a user. They can notify a user, they can notify a user within a team, and they can notify a user within a chat. To send a notification to a user from your custom Microsoft Teams app, you must meet the following requirements. For a user to receive a notification, the custom Microsoft Teams app must be installed for the recipient of the notification. And this can be done by the recipient, such as a personal app, or in a team or group chat that they're associated with. The custom Microsoft Teams app must be associated with an Azure Active Directory application as well. And the notification activity types supported by your application must be defined in your application's manifest. This first requirement is pretty self-explanatory. So let's look at the other two requirements in a little more depth. The first requirement is to associate the Microsoft Teams app with the Azure AD app registration created for the app. The Azure AD app is used to define permissions and to ensure that the app and the user has gone through the consent process prior to sending notifications. This association is defined in the Microsoft Teams app manifest file. The ID property should be set to the Azure AD's app's client ID, while the resource should be set on the Azure AD app's URI for the web application info object. The second requirement is to register with Microsoft Teams the types of activities the app can send notifications about. The activity notification, like the Azure AD app association, is done in the Microsoft Teams app manifest file. Each activity has a type property that must be unique in the app's manifest, and this is how your API will send consistent notifications to your users. The template text property contains the string that's used to display the alert message. You'll notice that this is a parameterized string where your app can define the parameters. Parameters are indicated with the open and closed brackets. A special parameter, actor, is always inserted by Microsoft Teams, and it can represent the name of the caller, which is either the user or the app that sent the activity feed notification. The activity feed notifications are sent to users with Microsoft Graph's Teams/Group ID/Send Activity Notification endpoint using an HTTP post. The body of the HTTP request contains details on the notification. Take the following HTTP request payload, for example. The topic object represents the subject of the notification, and it specifies the resource being talked about in the notification. This can be either an entity URL or text. The activity property must match one of the activities listed in the Microsoft Teams app manifest file. The preview text contains the text for the notification. Only the first 150 characters are shown in Microsoft Teams. The recipient contains a reference to the intended recipient of the notification, and the template parameters is an array of name-value pairs that Microsoft Teams will use to replace parameterized values in the activity as defined in the Microsoft Teams app manifest file.